Okay, good morning, everyone. Jim Williams, HurricaneCity.com. I'm here with Bill Phillips from Virginia Beach this morning, and we'll bring Bill in a minute. Just want to get everybody updated on what's currently happening. This is pretty much the current position. Actually, it's a little closer to the Windward Islands, to Grenada, rather. Let me zoom this in just a little bit more. So it's going to be moving in here. The core is going to be in there around 10 a.m. this morning. We're watching the radar. I'll show you that in just a minute. We should be able to go out for at least a few hours. Back in 2004, Hurricane Ivan hit this area, and it took a track kind of like this and came up and just clipped south of Grenada with 130-mile-per-hour winds. And naturally, the winds were blowing like this and devastated the island of Grenada. 90% of the homes were destroyed. 39 people were killed. Now, this track is naturally going to be up in here. So it's probably a difference of about maybe 50, 100 miles further north this track is than what Ivan was, which makes all the difference because, remember, the highest population center is right down in here. Okay, we have a new image from 9:40. This is about 10 minutes old. New image from the Lavelle Cam in St. Vincent. This is the island south of St. Vincent. And again, conditions deteriorating there. You can see it's getting darker and darker each time we show the image, and a little bit more white caps on the bay. This is in Barbados on the south coast near Bridgetown. But again, the worst conditions have passed by now. The camera that I've been showing you is right here. The observations that I've been trying to pull up are down here. Okay, Jim Eds is reporting that conditions are rapidly deteriorating in St. Vincent. So they have had some majors go through here, though, before. 1955, Hurricane Janet passed through there with 115-mile-per-hour winds while moving west. And we all remember what happened with Janet. It became this significantly major, like a catastrophic hurricane for the Central America. And they actually lost a hurricane hunter in that hurricane, I believe. Hurricane Flora in 1963 hit the area with 125-mile-per-hour winds. But again, the biggest hit was from Ivan in 2004, 130-mile-per-hour winds, moving west, 39 killed. At least 80% of the 100,000 residents were without power. More than 14,000 homes were damaged or destroyed. 80% of the nutmeg trees were destroyed. 17th century prison was also damaged, allowing many of the inmates to escape during the height of the storm. Ivan was the worst hurricane to strike the island since Janet 1955. Here's a view of the hurricane hunters flying around. Any progress on that television station, Bill?
Wow, that is pretty.
You can see little mesovortices spinning around in that eye.
Called Karaku, if I'm pronouncing that
Yeah,
correctly.
that's what it is.
If that's the population, I looked it up last night. That's a tiny island. The population of that island itself is 10,000.
Here's a shot from the north part of the island. It's got kind of hilly terrain. It's like regular CBS construction, regular built homes here. A lot of those homes are going to lose their roofs, though. Yeah, the eye is about to pass right over Carico.
About to be hell on earth in that place.
This is a directed deck that operates to provide advisory to the National Hurricane Center for Hurricane Beryl and to collect the forward ground truth weather data. As a secondary function, this net provides backup communications for official agencies such as emergency operations centers, non-government agencies, the Red Cross, storm shelters, and other vital interests involved in the protection of life or property before, during, and after hurricane events. You will follow break.
They've upped it to 140. $955 millibars.
Okay, the eye is beginning to move over Carico right now. They're getting in the clear.
The only benefit is it's during the day.
Outgoing health and welfare traffic over.
So there's kind of a side view of the island that's being hit right now.
Headline from NHC: as of 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, extremely dangerous eye wall of Hurricane Beryl moving over the island of Carico. That is their headline.
Let's see how the winds have increased throughout the advisories here. This was on the 30th, 130 miles an hour. Then it lost a little strength as it went through an eye wall replacement cycle there on this morning at 2 a.m. 5 a.m. it was going through an eye wall replacement cycle. Then at 11 a.m. it started to increase in strength again, and here we are currently near 140 miles per hour. So that's how the wind has. And here's a pressure graph. And again, interesting. Notice how when it went through the eye wall replacement cycle, the pressure went up to 965 millibars. And then it dropped after the eye wall replacement, 959, 956 millibars. Yeah, the island of Carico is directly in the center of the eye right now. And actually, the radar is a little old, so it's probably the western eye wall is now approaching. There it is. The eye is right over Carico. All right, here's the update statement from the National Hurricane Center. Satellite imagery and Barbados radar indicate that the eye of Beryl has made landfall on Carico Island at 11:10 a.m. Atlantic Standard Time. Data from an Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft indicate that Beryl's maximum sustained winds have increased to 150 miles per hour. So it's an official 150 mile per hour hit on Carico Island. Wow. Latest minimum central pressure estimated from the recon is 950 millibars. That's 28.05 inches. That position 12.5 north, 61.5 west. 0 miles south of Carico Island. That's a dead hit. 30 miles north-northeast of Grenada. Maximum winds 150 miles per hour, moving west-northwest at 20 miles per hour. Minimum central pressure 950 millibars. Unbelievable. Here's another Hurricane Hunter video via Twitter of the eye wall, the eye of Hurricane Beryl.
Whatever you were clicking through. No, that one's just as good.
Storm surge in Barbados.
We have reports of extensive storm surge. We have reports of extensive loss of roof and damage to buildings. There is no electricity on any of the islands, and communication is also difficult. Because of the rough seas and because the eye of the hurricane has just passed over Carriacou, we anticipate that we may be in for another 3 to 4 hours of intense wind, of strong storm surge, and there is the likelihood of even greater damage. And so in the circumstances, we have to continue to hunker down. We have to continue to pray for our brothers and sisters in Carriacou and Petit Martinique, and we certainly hope that the hurricane moves on quickly so that we can get the opportunity, hopefully by late evening, to begin the damage assessment and the recovery operations. We will be working closely with our regional partners to make sure that we can do so. We suspect that Union Island is also bearing the brunt of some of the effects. We have several reports of damage to buildings, several reports of roofs being blown off, including the central police station on the Carnage. So even government infrastructure is impacted. The roof at the Monge Hospital has also been damaged, and steps have been taken to evacuate the patients there and to bring them in the lower level to the nation. So again, widespread reports of destruction and devastation in Carriacou and Petit Martinique. We expect that we will still have very strong winds, storm surges, and more rainfall for the next 3 to 4 hours. So we have no choice but to continue to pray, to continue to hunker down, and to be safe. We do not have, as yet, any report of any loss of lives or injuries to persons, but that may change quickly, as you'd appreciate, in half an hour.
Peak wind 143.8 miles per hour out of the southeast rather. That's based on the Recon SFMR, which are the instruments they put on the aircraft to measure the sea foam on the sea surface to see, it's basically a process they use to measure the winds at the surface from the aircraft, and they're showing 144 mile per hour winds out of the southeast, and that's what's hitting the island right now. That's an absolutely beautiful hurricane. Stadium effect. Almost noontime Eastern. Jim Williams, Bill Phillips here to watch Hurricane Beryl go through the Windward Islands, hitting Grenada. The island of Carriacou, the Grenadines, are getting hammered. There's our wind history from the National Hurricane Center. The red is the hurricane force wind field, and as you can see, the Grenadines are completely under the hurricane force wind field. And Barbados, St. Lucia, and the island of St. Vincent are not under the hurricane field. As the front side wasn't that bad, but the back side was a lot worse. I mean, that absolutely hammered. That whole east-facing beach is going to be destroyed. I mean, on that island of Carriacou,
yeah, it's
Carriacou, that whole east. Watch that radar again. As it hits the island, the western eye wall kind of breaks up a little bit, boom, right there, and then they get the calm, and then that red comes in there. And those red bands are what just devastates buildings. At that point, the eye wall, the winds were coming in like this. Cemetery in the Sea. What's this? Oh, look at that. It's a graveyard. Oh, that's a little too close, man. There's got to be, those caskets are floating around now. No way. That's at sea level.
That's not good.
So that's that's definitely. It looks like it's quite expansive going back. Looks like this whole area here is a cemetery. The wind again. This is the south part of Carico Island, and I mean, the wind was just racing in here. So that surge all had to be building up in here. Notice all these boats. I mean, I'm hoping everybody got out of there and they weren't taking refuge there because those boats are all washed up in here. If that's true, if anybody didn't leave, their boats are on shore. That whole marina here is destroyed. I passes directly over, and then bam, that red part. Although weakened a little bit as it passed over the island. Just to put this, let me pan this out a little bit. There it is. So again, there's the south, the little marina area. It's like, and notice the shape of the land like this. So that water is pouring up in here. There's nowhere for it to go. It's like the Gulf of Mexico, miniature-sized Gulf of Mexico. And like I said, all these boats over here, I hope they got them all out because if not, they're all going to be up in here.
That very rarely do you see a satellite shot like that. I mean, that's
Category 3. And then we go Category 4. And this is where we were right there. I'm going to stop it. That is the shot of 150 miles an hour. Any home that's really not fortified for hurricanes, that's right along the coast or something, that's what kind of damage you're going to see is complete annihilation of 150 mile per hour winds. And then, of course, you get into the high-end Category 5, and there's basically hardly anything left. And it's pulling away. Notice the worst conditions are now away from the Grenadines, and the cleanup will begin. I think the main island of Grenada is going to be okay. They probably just had some hurricane force gusts. Nothing they can't handle. St. Vincent got spared pretty good. And they had sustained tropical storm force winds, but no hurricane force winds. But the island of Carico got absolutely annihilated, and all those small islands just to the north of it as well. Bill, any final comments?
no. Just my thoughts are with the people of Carico. Just take one day at a time and long road to recovery.
You hear the wind whistling. Footage from inside the eye wall in Carico, Grenada, as Hurricane Beryl blasted through it. In the aftermath, much of the island is ripped to shreds and many buildings sustained significant damage.